The Bahamas Governor General says the country is facing its greatest challenge, and in sport, Bermuda stuns Panama in their CONCACAF Nations League matchup. I'm Ricardo Robertson. This is Caribbean in 10 for Tuesday, September 10th, 2019. I'll be back with the details after the break.
Hi, I'm Brittany Dixon, and you're watching Finding Fit, the show where I pair up one client with two trainers. Trainer number one.
Oh my gosh.
It's about fitness, comedy.
You know, I can do this all day, you know.
Drama.
In future, we cannot be late.
Inspirational stories, and so much more. You are gonna love it. You can catch Finding Fit prime time this fall on CaribVision.
We set the tone with Frank. There are many people like Frank, but it's interesting the damage, the harm, and the destruction that is caused before someone's life comes full circle about that we all are human beings, Marcia.
You know, there's one word in his narrative that stuck out with me that relates very currently to something that happened with my two grandsons in the northwest quadrant of Washington, D.C. He said he learned.
The Bahamas Governor General Cornelia Smith has described the devastation brought by Hurricane Dorian last week as a most grievous blow. A Category 5 cyclone left behind a trail of death and destruction in the Abaco Islands and Grand Bahama. The death toll has risen to at least 50. In a radio and television broadcast last night, Smith said Bahamians now face their greatest challenge in rebuilding after the hurricane.
This is a dark and joyless time for those who have lost everything. But we pledge to you that there will be light and hope again. Fellow Bahamians, our public infrastructure has been degraded or is now non-existent. We face one of the greatest challenges in our history, that of rebuilding the lives of our people and our country. But in the midst of all this, we are inspired by the performance of those who were and are still on the front line. And so, on behalf of a grateful nation, I say a heartfelt thank you.
In other news now, repeat offenders in Trinidad and Tobago could face up to life in prison for gun crimes. Parliament voted last night to amend the Firearms Act to target repeat offenders who possess illegal firearms. The move comes as authorities try to crack down on increasing murders. We get more in this report from TV6 News.
The bill seeks to provide for increased penalties, including a $500,000 fine and 15 years in prison upon conviction of a first offense of possession of a firearm without a firearm user's license. It also includes life in prison upon a third conviction for certain firearm-related offenses. In piloting the bill, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi said from 2009 to 2019, there have been 17,363 firearm offenses, of which 11,168 were for robberies and 3,472 were for murders.
Under our financial legislative measures, we treat the breach of a regulation with by far more severity than we treat with the possession of a firearm, the use of a firearm. There was no treatment for trafficking in firearms, whilst we have our citizens locked in their homes and afraid of their own society.
In Guyana, lawyers for the government and the main opposition People's Progressive Party, the PPP, will on September 30th make oral submissions to the High Court in a case seeking to compel the cabinet, including the president, to resign. Former Attorney General Anil Nandalal is asking the court to order that the cabinet resign in keeping with the passage of a no-confidence motion against the government last December and subsequent rulings by the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, that the motion was valid and elections should be held. But Attorney General Basil Williams says the case is a waste of time. We get more in this report from Newsroom's BB Cartoon.
The Attorney General was given until September 23rd to file responses. He also told reporters outside the courtroom that the application is disrespectful to the Caribbean Court of Justice, which dealt with these matters and delivered a ruling in June. Attorney-at-law Anil Nandlal sought to dispel the claims made by the AG.
It's unfortunate that we have to resort to this kind of strenuous efforts in the court to get a government to obey the clear language of the Constitution. It is unfortunate that the citizens of this country have to resort to this kind of extreme in getting a government simply to comply with the Constitution. This is the level to which we have descended. And rather than the Attorney General come here and concede as the principal legal advisor under the Constitution of the government of Guyana, he comes here and says that it is an abusive process.
How do you respond to that?
It's an atrocious contention.
This case follows one which concluded on August 14th, in which Nandlal sought to have the court set a timeline for elections.
And stay with us, your Midday Sport is next. Bermuda's national coach Kyle Lightbourne hailed his team's performance after Naki Wells scored in each half for his side, which produced a major shock by beating Panama 2-0 in the CONCACAF Nations League on Sunday night. The stunning victory by Bermuda against a team ranked 100 places above them avenged a 4-1 defeat 3 days earlier and kept alive their hopes of survival in the tournament's top tier ahead of their meeting against Mexico.
Warriors do. Things in Machado. Curls it in, knocked down in the box. Still alive, Barcenas. Second possession, here is Lamb. Tries to sneak it through. Does for Lewis, and Wells puts it away. Against the runner by the Gombe. On the road as well, just to get there. Ball driven in by Maria. It goes on paper if Bermuda's going and win this game. Rodriguez now on the ball in a dangerous spot. Gets a left-footed shot. Difference maker for that team. Lamb has space, finds Wells, looking for a second, and Bermuda doubles their lead on the road. Into the bigger games. They don't want to go into those games off the back of the box. We're in this game at home. And there it is, the final whistle.
And over to horse racing veteran Patrick Husband's form showed little sign of wane as he reeled off a season-leading 12 stakes win at Woodbine on Sunday after bringing 9-5 favorite with a flying late run to capture the 120,000 Canadian dollar Belle Mahone Stakes. Going a mile and 16ths for the 3-year-olds and upwards, Husband powered the Michael Dingson-trained 5-year-old mare into contention into the upper stretch before winning a 3-way battle to reach the wire by a neck in a time of 1 minute, 43.57 seconds. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Until then, good afternoon.